the joint skipper.
Oh, tough kick.
Oh, it's just set up.
And he paid it too. He didn't quite hang on to it, but it blew out when he hit the deck.
And no prizes for guessing who it was.
If you were kicking out, now that was almost like he's deliberately said, I'm going to see if Jeremy Howe can take Mark of the Year here. It was the perfect setup kick, just chipped it on the head of his teammate. Look at the run.
How would he have been in kick-to-kick at lunchtime?
Oh. He held it enough. It was definitely a mark.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's the last place you go to in the air.
Thanks, Mitch.
So Howe for Melbourne's first. Nice strike. It's fading a fraction, but it's there. And the Melbourne crowd have something to cheer about.
Magnificent. You're right, Joe. So if you're kicking out from full-back and Melbourne is zoning up, you need to identify where Jeremy Howe is, especially if you're going to give the ball some elevation. There's just an amazing grab there. I think, is it Toby Green?
Oh, yeah, big ask to Toby Green.
Just use him as a ruck bag. And he's just got a great vertical leap, isn't it? What a highlights package he's going to have at the end of his career.
Smart, actually. He worked out where his opponent was and how he was get onto the footy. Byrnes to half foot, still get a lovely nudge. Has to go with it. And as we said, has to kick the goal. He had time to sum it all up. That's how you do it.
The two leaders, Trengove was outstanding in the middle of the ground, but that was incredible play.
But Tim Moore makes a big decision here. He says, I'm going around to the front. He gets himself under the footy. The one thing you don't do as a defender is get caught under the footy and let your opponent get goal side with the ball going over the top.
He lost vision. That was the thing. He lost vision of the ball and the opponent. All the dangerous space was between him and the goals. He elected to take the front and he paid the ultimate price. Just what Melbourne needed. Colin Sylvia started over the tackle. You know, you can talk about the goal and the use of the body, but it was intent to tackle.
Look, he clocked in the second time.
He's too good at ground level, Colin Sylvia, than Tim Moore. He's okay in the air, Tim Moore, but I think the GWS coaching staff will be looking at this matchup with intent.
He tried to play on then, Sylvia. The umpire allowed him to have another crack at it.
Look at the tackles, boys, and I think that's what Mark Neal, the coaching staff, would wrap. 20 tackles to Melbourne, 11 to GWS. They've been averaging 19 less tackles per game, Melbourne. That's a great start. That means you're playing with intent.
Hasn't made an impact yet, Cam Pedersen, but he gets an opportunity today.
Was left out after the first week, of course, but back in last week and preferred to Salah for today's game. Salah, one of the omissions for the Melbourne team. Just 2 steps. That's all he needed. Melbourne has its 4th goal on the board.
Well, one of the mature age recruits that I guess the football community looked at when they picked up a number of these players, the Shannon Byrnes types and the Cam Pedersens. They need to have an impact. They'll get opportunities. There's no guarantees of games here at Melbourne. You've got a young list. If you're not playing well, you'll keep turning them over and getting games into the inexperienced players, but Cam Pedersen starts well today.
He can run hard along the wing, and Grimes' kick was well placed for a Mitch Clark mark. He didn't mark it, but he had a quick look around, just scouting as to where the opposition was. Said, I'm off. I can take you on, Gillum. Let's touch a Buddy Franklin here. Mitch Clark, top of the square. He mightn't have kicked it himself like Buddy, but they're still going to get the goal.
You know, that's also smart play by Mitch Clark, because he recognises his matchup at the time, Stephen Gillum. Whilst he's a solid key defender, he's not quick. And he backed his leg speed, and he's run the best part of 60 metres, having a few bounces, and then you get the opportunity to kick it to a dangerous spot.
Cam Pedersen already with 1 under the belt. The probability says from here it'll be another. Suddenly Melbourne have got it all together, and quickly they are 4-4-28, underlining your point, Jason. 10 inside 50s for 8 scoring shots.
Started down the other end of Jack Watts, and as we look at Mitch Clark, it's magnificent identifying the lack of leg speed for Steve Gillum, but then just having the poise under pressure to put the ball to a dangerous spot, because when you play as a key forward, you know exactly where you want the ball. And
Patton did. Canelio, Ward, Watts, Gawn, Garland with his back to goal. Had to try and turn that into something. McDonald, so all the defence combining. It looked like a defender's kick through the air, but it hit Byrnes right on the chest.
It was a good passage of play there from Melbourne, a little bit of poise. If that had bombed away, Giles, the GWS ruckman, on his own in the hole. So it was terrific play there from Melbourne. Gets back to goal shooting, though, doesn't it? Palmer missed one about 2 minutes ago. Shannon Byrnes' turn.
102 goals, 83 in his career, Shannon Byrnes. Primarily with the Cats, of course, 29 years of age. Sends it on its way. And that'll do.
Yeah, well, that's the difference. We had Reece Palmer, as you talked about, Jace, a lot closer to goal. It was a good build-up there from Melbourne. Could have blazed away. Tom McDonald just lowered his eyes, saw movement, and give it to Shannon Byrnes. That's what you need to do. Make your GWS half-backs defend. And that's the difference. We know Melbourne going into the game, they ranked second in the competition for scoring efficiency. So a bad miss from GWS 4 minutes ago. Melbourne made them pay.
Howe, Matt Jones. Out territory, and Byrnes again in the right spot.
Yeah, good use of the body. It's amazing use of the body there. Thomas Bugg, he knew that he was very close, and he just protected the ball drop. And as a forward, when you at least you know you've got the defender engaged on you, you know exactly where he is. Good contested mark.
Very similar spot to the last kick.
I was going to say, he's done it once, and he's done it again.
A couple of goals in quick succession to Shannon Byrnes opens up a little bit of breathing space for Melbourne, and it just comes down to opportunities. You know, we've spoken about it before, the art of goal kicking and how important it is to finish off the work. But Reece Palmer misses one that virtually square scores up from 20 out on a very slight angle, and then Shannon Byrnes kicks a couple of good ones from 40, 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Makes the world of difference.
It was from Grimes, and it was much needed at the time. Now Jenner, they can blast through the middle here, the D's. For Bale, 53 seconds on the clock. No tall targets for them. Has to cut across. Does cut across. For Evans, it was scrappy through the air. Lucky to be paid, maybe. He kicks it to Jenner, who'll be out of puff. He's run a long way. Can't get there. He leaves it for Byrnes. Hemmed in against the line. Poked it to the hard lead of Jamar. It might have got past them all.
It's a goal.
It's there. Oh, they needed a stroke of luck. They were overdue, and that is it.
Wow. He's gone for the pass on Jamar and Giles. The ball's on a leg break, bounced over their heads, and somehow gone through for goal. Have a look at Shannon Byrnes trying to hit the target.
That's 3 goals for the quarter, too.
Have a look at the bounce of the ball. It's done a leg break at the end.
Luck's a fortune, but he's got 3 for the quarter now, Shannon Byrnes.
Much needed goal for Melbourne.
Oh, it's keeping Melbourne in it at the moment. It's a goal against the run of play.
Down.
Oh, that was nearly a throw.
Yeah.
Could well have been. Nathan Jones, the heat's on again from Whitfield. Stood up pretty well. McDonald, you heard the call of the umpire. Turlet's doing well enough just to get it to Sylvia. Had to hurry the kick.
Good kick under pressure.
He knew where it was going, didn't he, Shannon Byrnes? Could have cut into Bale. He didn't do that. There's a good diving mark taken by Tapscott. Bale's still loose. Had a couple of leads. He does go there. Mitch Clark.
That's better. It's exactly just composure, play solid football, and it was good movement from the half forwards, Jace, but Clark stayed at home.
I thought Phil Davis had read it well enough where he was going to make it 2-on-1, but he just didn't get there.
But it was a better kick. It puts Phil Davis under extreme pressure, that kick.
So, yeah, he got 2 metres. Not much angle to deal with there. And it's not a problem for Mitch Clark. That simply had to.
That was a great kick from Sylvia under pressure, but that's a lot better entry. And Jace, we were critical in the second quarter where Clark would be the first to lead, and he'd end up leading wide. Yep. He's now let the half forwards have a look around. It's a really good mark here from Tapscott. But you see some really good movement, and Clark staying home. You can just see Clark on the top of the square. Great play. Good movement from Howe leading up.
Saw Phil Davis drop off, but he probably needed to keep going and make it a 2-on-1. Just crash into the pack.
But, Jace, that's where you want your key forward.
Fumbled. And there's consequences for mistakes usually. They get away this time. Jeddah was able to rectify. And look at Bale indeed. 60 from goal. Turned around and went straight for home. It was a good decision. It's a goal. Absolute desperate stakes for the D's, and Bale puts it through.
Now, good play from Melbourne that GWS should be just about shooting for goal. The turnover. It was a good run from Melbourne.
He got lucky, Neville Jetta.
He did.
Got a second goal.
There was a couple of...
He just had the fumble, and then, at least to his credit, he backed it up and then he took them on. And he had the vision to find Rohan Bale. That's a really good finish off a couple of steps. Nothing else to kick to. He had to go for goal.
Needs the ball to sit for him. He's gone to ground. And that was going to make things tough. Sumner fights a good 50-50 battle. Evans bundles it out. Gawn, careful kick for Jamar. If he had been able to keep his feet, he might have been able to sneak into goal.
Well, again, look, it was a good option, but Clark was one-on-one on top of the square, and it was good movement from Jamar, and Gawn was probably thought he was under a bit more pressure than he was, but the entry should have went to the top of the square to Clark.
Well, it hasn't been a big day for Jamar in terms of possessions. And he's lining up now.
Possession number 12, but only at 45% he's going.
This is his most important one of the day.
Oh, he drilled it.
And how about that? The ruckman putting it through and scores a level.
Well, the ruckmans combined then. It was Gawn who got the ball on the half-forward line. Good play here from Jett. I don't know whether he had his time again to go to ground. Sumner.
Gee, they gave him a long time to get the ball out.
But I was a little bit hard on Gawn. Actually, that's the only option he had because there was a lot of pressure on his leg, and that was the only time he had. It was a really good mark from Jamar. That's what you need from your leaders. Stand up when it's counted.
Nathan Jones couldn't claim it, tried to barge through it. He gets it high. Yes, he did.
Silly. Phil Davis just fell in his back.
Well, right. Well, Scully had hold of him, and Phil just came in as the second tackler and gave a silly free kick away. Important kick, this. Just have a look. You see Scully makes a good tackle, and Phil Davis over the top.
Well, an anxious glance up to the scoreboard. It tells him that they trail by 18 points. Every kick so vital for Melbourne in this last quarter. It starts left, but it is coming back. There's something. A little something for the D's.
Oh, that's a great goal. He's been their best player all year, Nathan Jones. And Melbourne missed a lot of opportunities in that third quarter.
Yeah, Gawn in the square, waiting for it. Pedersen brings it to ground. Sylvia made the play. Evans to Jones. Grimes was able to just steady and assess. Gawn in the middle! And he went with it! Welcome back, Max. You're not gone at the moment.
Big Maxie!
The MCG members haven't been excited about a Maxi since Tangles Walker was here in the 70s and 80s.
Kind of thought it might have brought a smile to Mark Neal's face, but gee, wouldn't you be disappointed from GWS's perspective? 2-on-1. I think it's Gillum on one side and you got Phil Davis on the other, and he just parks the Red Sea, throws them both out of the way, marks it, plays on and kicks it. Here come the D's. Look at the strength of the big man. Jamar's positioned him behind the footy, so any quick kick out will probably get mopped up.
Howe, Evans,
high. Yeah, I thought it was there, the initial.
This to draw it level.
Yeah, against Lockie Whitfield there. I thought his initial over the shoulder.
Michael Evans, another who's had a long absence from footy after playing 4 games in 2011. Missed all of last year, came back into the team last week. Whew. This to level the score at the MCG. Scores a level, 3 in a row to the D's. They're giving us something.
Well, we talked about it, the Melbourne have to at least kick 6 goals, and that's a great start. Only 7 minutes gone. Have a look at the free kick here.
That's not high.
Yeah, it wasn't high, actually.
That tackle's fine.
It is a good tackle. But let's face it, Melbourne have been in 4 times for 12 disposals for 3 goals. You talk about efficient football at its absolute finest. For players on in the midfield.
Great mark, but I'm sure he had 2 hands in the middle of his opponent's back.
Gawn to Jones. Stand start, scrappy but effective.
Good poise from Jones. Leadership all over that from Nathan Jones. Could have been excused for blazing away. Just lowered his eyes. The kick wasn't great, but it got there.
Well, they drew level early, and now they have a chance to actually hit the front. And that's a massive psychological blow for GWS.
Well, your leaders, your co-captain, it could be in better hands. He's a magnificent kick, Jack.
Oh, and you can see it in his face. These young captains,
back him in.
Given such a load at such a young age. And these are the moments that you have to make count. Jack Trengove. Jack Trengove. They're in front.
Now it's a magnificent game of football. Trengove coming off. I would. Was there hands in the back? You were pretty critical, Chase.
Mate, that's on the number.
There's 10 fingers in the back.
You're right, it was there. And look, I think the pressure is on everyone today.
Yep.
There's been a few mistakes by the third umpire. But it was a really good kick from Nathan Jones. They probably needed a little bit of luck, Melbourne. The rub of the green was going GWS way early, but all Melbourne now.
In there.
Got numbers here, Melbourne.
Well, the chase was on. It was all Melbourne. Sylvia happy to take it. And then kicks deep into the pocket again. Oh, that's a great effort from Howe.
Beautiful kick from Sylvia too.
He can take them not just high, but low as well.
Gawn was on.
Yeah, he was. Howe just wasn't quite ready to release the kick.
You're right.
Gawn frustrated.
Well, Gawn was on Toby Green, so he had a huge height advantage there. He probably needs to kick it now because that was the option he should have went for early.
So Jeremy Howe. Demons really pressing at the MCG. He's taken some great marks over the time, but that might just be the best thing he's done for the Demons.
Well, it's all about taking your opportunities when they're presented, and Jeremy Howe's done that. That's a superb kick. He covers some ground to get there. Colin Sylvia has had some important clearances in this fourth term. 7-1 the inside 50. But have a look at the ground he makes to get there. Swallows it up, then takes his time and delivers a beautiful kick. So 7 inside 50s for 5 goals, 2 from GWS, and they are all over. From Melbourne, sorry.
Probably bar that 18. The rest are just trying to urge these Demons home. Shannon Byrnes, the zig and the zag from one Jones to another. Confronted by Scully. Got a way out of it. Back to the square. Maxi Gawn again.
Had to put his hands up, Max.
Evans. 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 Good Evans. He's done it.
How good was Jones? Oh, this is amazing. Team goal from Evans. You call it beautifully huddled. But Nathan Jones, you talk about leadership. Have a look at this. He's on Tom Scully. They've had a great battle all day. Great corralling, but that's all he could do. The right foot banana. Max should have probably extended the arms. He didn't. But Evans was in the right spot. That's where you want your crummers. 9 inside 50s for 6 goals, 2. Mark Neal must be saying, where was this for the first 3 quarters? This intent.
It's also 44 possessions to 18. So they
give but couldn't. Hacked kick. Jamar should have this covered. He made sure of it. He put arms and legs and everything up. Frawley thumps it back again. Just to amp up the pressure. Maxi didn't mark it at the back. Davey! Davey's got it! The Demons are on a roll.
Well, there it is. GWS are ranked 18th for contested marks. We just saw another one from Jamar. They've taken 20 today, only 6 to GWS. Maxi Gawn's the go-to player. I know he didn't mark the ball there, but he competed really hard, and that's all you need to do. It's a really good, long, strong kick to the top of the square from Frawley. But here's Max just making a contest, and like all good half forwards, there's Aaron Davey. They had 3 or 4 options there, Melbourne. 3 or 4 options. You had Bale, Davey and Shannon Byrnes as crummers. They're all over GWS at the moment, Melbourne.
14 marks to nothing in this fourth term. No pressure.
Desperately for teammates. And the run was good from behind.
Look at Sylvia is on.
And they can take it wide again here.
Sorry.
Tapscott.
Got Davey over the top.
Kick to a fair while to get to him, but he can still get it to Davey. And Davey, the kick didn't look great, but it actually got Davey into a better position, Spade.
Gained another 10 metres by the kick. You would think Davey thought, not another metre, and I'm in real trouble here. He knew that.
He was thinking bad thoughts, I reckon, and so you would, because it just hung there for a long time.
Well, that was really good poise from Melbourne from the half-back line. Started with McDonald. Good poise.
Well, what's he got left to offer this footy club, Aaron Davey? Kicked the goal before, comes in, uses all that experience and skill, and slots another one.
Oh, that's a great kick. Started as the sub, 13 inside 50s the D's for 8 goals, 2. Started from Tom McDonald, took the game on here. Good poise, lace out football here from Melbourne. Really good play. Evans to Tapscott. Tapscott quickly gets the ball on the boot to Davey. As you rightly said, Hutto's probably had too much elevation. Another metre high and he was in trouble. But that's why Melbourne, going to this game, the one positive they had, they were ranked second in the competition.
Earns the free the hard way. Davey to half forward again, and that's safely done. Evans, was he off?
Oh,
it's 50. It's 50.
Now, see, he wandered straight off the mark, Evans. That should have been play on. I know you've got to play the umpire's whistle. But he tackled him because he was nowhere near going back behind the mark. He continued to run. He's run 5 metres laterally. How is that not play on?
Well, the umpire's saying he hadn't called it. And that's where the instinct versus the letter of the law is wrong, isn't it?
But if he waits for him to call it, he's off and gone.
Yeah. So Evans looking for his third of the quarter. And he's done it! And the Demons might nearly be safe. Nearly. They won't believe it until they lead by about 50. But they lead by 23.
Well, there's Mark Neal looking at the score, and he's also looking at the time left in the clock with 5 minutes. But
he's marked it and he's kept running. He's kept running and he's looking at his options.
Yeah. It's probably a bit of karma, Jace. They didn't get the rub of the green early, but you talk about last quarters.
They've been big, haven't they been big?
8 disposals, 3 goals, 1. 2 inside 50s, 4 contested possessions.
He'll be pretty satisfied. Job not finally done yet, but it might be in a minute. Nathan Jones, it'll be appropriate. They tell him to kick for goal. He tries. Now it's downfield. Game over.
We'll go to Big Maxi.
It's against Scully.
Yeah. It's gone to the go-to man, Max Gawn. Crowd are letting Tom Scully know.
And Max Gawn, well, it could be some bad news with Mitch Clark, but Max Gawn has given Melbourne lots of reasons to smile today.
Oh, what about Nathan Jones' last quarter? Yeah. Look, he's been the best player on the ground.
And this is a 10-goal last quarter for Melbourne. They've kicked 10.
With 15 entries. Have a look at Nathan Jones. What's he had? 9 disposals, 4 contested possessions.
Oh, that's a soft downfield. Are we getting too protective?
Yeah, you're right. That's not there. And they're doing it at the moment with 10 goals.
They're doing all the things that they couldn't in previous weeks. Howe, he's taken it just inside the line. Kicked 1 great goal from the boundary already.
Right in line, Jeremy. Jeremy, right in line. Yeah, level with me here. Right, you're right there. Yeah, he's level with me now. No close up, no close up. That's 15 seconds.
Howe again.
Oh.
They can't miss now.
This is 11 goals, 2 for 17 entries. And this is their best last quarter since round 10, 2001. So they've kicked 11-2 for 17 entries.
It's going to be the biggest. They can kick another one. It's going to be the biggest quarter of the year so far, isn't it, for anyone?
As I said, they're making the most. Well, their momentum is just incredible. It's Jones, it's Sylvia, Trengove, Gawn.
Bale, bit of hesitation. Tapscott, Howe bolts back to the square, and so does Evans. Evans is on again, but Howe will mark it. He's going to be a favourite of the Melbourne fans for a lot of years to come, and he's going to provide a lot of entertainment. Today it was a couple of goals from the boundary that were added to the memories for Melbourne fans.
Well, if he scores, now this will be their biggest score in the last quarter since round 4, 1991. If he scores, so that he's going to do something drastic not to score.
No, I think he'll score, Spud. And he might just score his 3rd goal of the last quarter.
Wow.
12-goal final term for the Demons. Where has this been?
Well, they just went back 10 years, took 10 years off that record.
Yeah.
What's the next one to tumble if they kick another one?
I think it gets back to their premiership year in '64. And I'm only joking, but it's no joke to the fact that they played unbelievable football. I think it says a lot about probably where GWS are as well. It's all Melbourne, but probably the
Melbourne's
young
credit.
bodies.
To Melbourne's credit, GWS have stopped.
He would have been the first to know he was.
Well, the siren's about to sound. And the Demons have won by 41 points. And after a torturous month and a torturous 3 quarters, sheer relief for Melbourne, sheer relief for their players, for their leaders, for their youngsters, and for their coach, Mark Neal. Football can provide a reason to smile after all. 22 goals, 12, 144. To 15-13, 103, a 12-goal final term, a reason to sing the song.
They doubled their score in the last quarter for their first 3 quarters. You're right, Hutto. It was the way they did it. They responded magnificently well. They were 19 points down in the 3rd quarter. I thought their leaders, Jace, were terrific, led by Jones, Sylvia, Trengove, Gawn, Grimes. Multiple goals from Evans. Jeremy Howe finishing off the good work in the midfield. But it was just a magnificent win.